In this episode of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, Joe Rogan is joined by Tulsi Gabbard, a former member of Congress and a strong advocate for hemp production and the legalization of marijuana. The conversation between the two delves into a wide range of topics, including the history of hemp and marijuana in the United States, the benefits of hemp as a commodity, the challenges faced by businesses in the cannabis industry, and the potential economic benefits of hemp production. Tulsi Gabbard shares her personal experience with hemp and the potential economic benefits of hemp production, especially for states like Hawaii. She mentions her father's advocacy for hemp as an agricultural driver in Hawaii and the challenges faced due to federal regulations. They discuss the recent rescheduling of marijuana by the DEA to Schedule III and the progress being made towards legalization. The conversation highlights the fear and lack of education surrounding hemp and marijuana, leading to misconceptions and barriers to its widespread use. They touch upon the restrictions faced by military personnel in using hemp products and CBD due to federal regulations. Rogan emphasizes the importance of accurate information and the need for transparency in discussing the benefits and risks associated with cannabis. They explore the connection between marijuana and marijuana, emphasizing the need to separate the two and promote hemp production for its various uses. Rogan mentions the versatility of hemp as a durable and sustainable material for clothing, construction, and other industries. They discuss the potential of hemp as a solution to deforestation and its rapid growth cycle compared to traditional crops. The conversation also delves into the propaganda surrounding marijuana, with Rogan mentioning the influence of William Randolph Hearst and Harry Anslinger in demonizing cannabis for personal gain. They discuss the impact of propaganda films like Reefer Madness in shaping public perception and the challenges of navigating conflicting narratives about cannabis. Gabbard shares her legislative efforts to deschedule marijuana and promote hemp production in Congress. They discuss the challenges faced by businesses in the cannabis industry due to federal regulations, including banking restrictions and legal uncertainties. Rogan emphasizes the need for a more informed and open discussion about cannabis to address the complexities of its legalization and regulation. The conversation then shifts towards the potential ban of TikTok, with Gabbard expressing opposition to the ban on grounds of free speech and civil liberties. They discuss how such legislation could give the government the authority to choose which platforms are acceptable, leading to government overreach and potential violations of constitutional rights. Gabbard raises concerns about the vague language in the legislation, which could grant excessive power to the executive branch and infringe on privacy rights. They also touch upon recent legislation that expands government surveillance capabilities, allowing authorities to capture data from individuals' cell phones and internet activities without a warrant. Gabbard highlights the dangers of government overreach and the need to strike a balance between national security and individual liberties. They discuss the implications of such legislation on civil rights and the potential for abuse by government agencies. The conversation then shifts to the FBI's actions and the politicization of the agency. Gabbard shares anecdotes about individuals being visited by the FBI for their involvement in political events, raising concerns about the agency's priorities and potential biases. They discuss the internal dynamics within the FBI, with some agents expressing frustration over the politicization of the agency and others aligning with the current leadership. Gabbard also mentions the case of the attempted kidnapping of the governor of Michigan, where FBI informants played a significant role in orchestrating the plot. They highlight the complexities within law enforcement agencies and the challenges of maintaining integrity and upholding the rule of law in politically charged environments. The conversation underscores the importance of accountability and transparency within government agencies to prevent abuses of power and protect individual rights. The conversation then shifts to the influence of social media and foreign countries on shaping public opinion. They discuss how social media platforms like TikTok can be used to manipulate narratives and push certain ideologies. They also talk about the value of data in today's world and how companies like Facebook and Google are collecting and selling people's data. They delve into the issue of government intervention in social media platforms, particularly in censoring certain voices and controlling the flow of information. They highlight the dangers of allowing the government to dictate what is considered misinformation and how it can lead to a suppression of free speech. The discussion then moves towards the education system and how the lack of emphasis on teaching foundational principles like the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is leaving young people vulnerable to radical ideologies. They talk about the importance of instilling values of freedom and democracy in the younger generation to counter extremist ideologies. They also touch upon the issue of open borders and the erosion of confidence in the system due to various factors like lenient policies on crime and immigration. They discuss how certain ideologies are being promoted in schools and universities, leading to a generation of young people who are disconnected from reality and susceptible to radical ideas. The conversation takes a critical turn towards the recent statements made by university presidents in support of radical ideologies like Queer for Palestine. They discuss the lack of consequences for such actions and the dangers of indoctrinating young people into extremist beliefs. The conversation then shifts to the influence of social media platforms and tech companies in shaping the narrative and controlling information. They touch upon the issue of censorship and the suppression of free speech, especially when it comes to certain political ideologies. Gabbard points out the dangers of allowing a single ideology to dominate the narrative on social media platforms, leading to a lack of diverse perspectives and the stifling of dissenting voices. The conversation then delves into the role of big tech companies like Apple in controlling the market and influencing consumer behavior. They discuss Apple's monopoly in the smartphone market and the tactics they use to maintain their dominance, such as the use of proprietary connectors and messaging systems. Gabbard points out the challenges faced by users of non-Apple devices in terms of compatibility and functionality, highlighting the need for more open standards and interoperability in the tech industry. The conversation then shifts to the topic of the Unplugged phone, a secure communication device developed by Eric Prince. The phone is touted as being highly secure, with features that protect user data from surveillance. However, there are concerns raised about the phone's origins and funding, with some speculating that it may have ties to government agencies like the CIA. Gabbard expresses interest in learning more about the phone and its capabilities, especially in light of increasing concerns about government surveillance. They also touch upon the issue of privacy and data security in popular messaging apps like Signal and WhatsApp. There are discussions about the potential vulnerabilities of these apps to government surveillance and the need for more secure communication platforms. Gabbard mentions the importance of using encrypted messaging apps and secure phones to protect sensitive information from prying eyes. The conversation then delves into the topic of climate change and its impact on coastal areas. They discuss the lack of awareness among the general public about government surveillance and the importance of staying informed about privacy issues. Gabbard highlights the need for more transparency and accountability in government surveillance practices to protect individual privacy rights. They also talk about the challenges faced by residents in Maui following a devastating fire. Many families are still struggling to find housing and rebuild their homes after the fire, highlighting the importance of community support and resources in times of crisis. Gabbard emphasizes the need for proactive measures to address environmental disasters and support affected communities in their recovery efforts. The conversation delves into the lack of government support for the affected families, with Gabbard criticizing the meager $700 one-time payment offered by FEMA as insufficient. She also points out the insensitivity of government officials and the slow response in providing assistance to the community. She emphasizes the need for accountability and transparency in addressing the failures of the emergency response and the ongoing challenges faced by the residents. Gabbard also touches on immigration policies, border security, and the need for a more balanced approach to addressing these issues. She criticizes the government's handling of immigration and border control, highlighting the disparities in treatment between law-abiding individuals seeking entry and those entering the country illegally. The conversation concludes with a call to action for Americans to come together around fundamental principles of freedom, democracy, and accountability. Gabbard urges people to transcend party affiliations and unite in safeguarding the values enshrined in the Constitution. She emphasizes the importance of civic engagement and speaking out against government overreach to ensure the preservation of a free and democratic society.